Hello, I'm Blue, and I'm a student at OUSD.
And that's Oakland Unified School District, correct?
Yes.
So tell us what made you get involved in this? What's going on that's happening that made you just need to do something around this?
On school campuses right now, it's very easy to catch COVID. A lot of kids have been testing positive, and a lot of students are afraid for their teachers themselves and their families and their community. So we just decided to start taking matters to our own hands since adults aren't doing them themselves.
When you say adults aren't doing it, what do you mean by that?
Well, before our strike, we didn't have the masks we needed. We didn't have outdoor spaces to eat when it rained, so we weren't just bunched together in the cafeterias. And we didn't have a lot of the equipment that we needed to stay safe at schools. So we just started striking and telling the adults what we needed, and they finally listened. So
when you say a lot of kids have been getting sick, can you describe that? Is it just people like testing positive, or kids are getting sent home because they don't feel good, or it's just like obviously spreading amongst kids, or just kind of tell us about what it's like day to day?
Obviously, it's like a case-by-case thing. COVID doesn't affect all teens differently. But personally, I did get sick, and I did have long COVID. And other kids are asymptomatic, so they don't have any symptoms at all. But either way, if you're testing positive, you're probably spreading COVID as well. So even if they aren't feeling sick, if you spread it to another kid that will get sick, or a kid that has a vulnerable family member, that's just as dangerous.
I know it's been like a short period since kids have been back, and then there's been stuff that the teachers have been doing. There's been sick outs, and then you all have been organizing. How have the teachers in this period responded to it? Have they been talking to you all about what's going on? Like, has there been a back and forth between the teachers and the students about how bad this is?
Well, most teachers that I've spoken to have been extremely supportive. Not only in OUSD, but all across the country, even in other countries people who have reached out to me with support. So I do know teachers have been supportive. They did do their own strike as well, but these strikes that we've been doing ourselves is more student oriented.
Did the actions of the teachers in Oakland and San Francisco, was that, like, obviously you all are doing this on your own, but like, did that help kind of like inspire you all to take action too, or what kind of factor did that play into what you're doing?
I feel like it made more kids less afraid of doing their own strike, just because we saw the bravery of our own teachers who were doing this not only for themselves, but for us as well. And I think most kids just started thinking, oh, if the teachers can do it, why can't we?
And then just kind of like walk us through like what's been happening with the students, because you all have set demands, which you already kind of went over a little bit, and then it seems like you were saying that those have started to been met. I believe the last thing I read in the newspaper was 2 of the demands have been met, but yet you all are still going on strike on Tuesday, correct?
Yes, well, the thing is, we're going on strike not because we're trying to put pressure on the district. We understand there's a test shortage. We are very grateful for our district and what they've done for us. We do understand that they've been doing their best, but it's still not safe to come to school if we don't have the testing available. So we're not continuing our strike to put pressure or to just criticize our district. We're doing it just because we still feel unsafe.
But you feel that definitely the actions that you all have taken push the district to supply you all with, sounds like PPE and masks and other things that you've been asking for?
It only started happening after our strike, so a lot of kids have been seeing the pattern, And I feel like it should have been done a long time ago, but I am glad it's happening now so we can slow down the spread. I know we can't fully stop it, but as long as we're slowing it down, it will be safer for our kids and our community.
A lot of people have been saying that, the Biden administration now is finally sending out masks and other things to supposedly out into the world that we're going to have access to. And it seems like that is in direct response to everything that the students and teachers have been doing across the U.S. So it seems like not only on a local level, but on a national level, you all have had a huge impact.
Yes, I've also been hearing about kids in France and kids in Chicago and New York, LA, just like all across the country. And it's very inspiring to see them just fighting for what they need to feel safe in their communities.
Adults listening to this, either if they're in a position at a school or if they're just listening and maybe they're not even thinking about kids at school or kids in general, what message would you relay to them?
I feel like you need to think that kids aren't just interacting at school. We do go get snacks at the store. We go buy groceries. We go to doctor's appointments. We go to the library. So if we catch COVID at school, not only are we spreading it to our classmates, but we're probably spreading it to somebody you know or just to yourself as well if you're in contact with a student that does have COVID. So this doesn't just impact our schools, it impacts our entire communities, especially since a lot of high schoolers already have jobs. If you're going to a restaurant that they work at, you're going grocery shopping and they're a cashier and they're tested positive with COVID, you could get infected as well.
What do you hope to happen on Tuesday? Is this a strike that's going to go on for a set amount of days, or is it just a one-day thing?
We're just trying to go on strike until cases go down because schools being open is a big thing that's causing the spread to, get just spread around faster around our communities. We're also trying to just feel safe. That feeling of safetiness for our kids is very important. I understand, again, there's the mask test shortage. This district can't do much until, people in higher power, just give us more tests for the kids. But if we don't go to school, I feel like it will slow down the spread a bit more.
Well, anything else you want to say or talk about? Where can people go to get more information about the strike, or can they follow updates somewhere online?
So on our Instagram, we do post a few updates. It's OUSD student strike. And on our Twitter, I know that updates are a bit more frequent there than they are on Instagram just because it takes a bit longer to make posts on Instagram. So go follow OUSD strike on Twitter as well. I also wanted to put a quick message out there. If you believe that we shouldn't close down schools because only sick people with disabilities or illnesses are dying, I want to point out that's eugenics, and that argument is not valid in my eyes and in many people's eyes. So I just wanted to point that out because I see it being used a lot to keep schools open, and you're practically saying that my baby sister should die so we can keep schools open and not lose money. Let's also not forget that long COVID is a thing. Even if you do have COVID mildly, it could affect a lot of things. I had vertigo, so that means I was fainting and dizzy. That was during my recovery when I was negative from COVID. If you're a lymphema at birth, it can affect your menstrual cycle as well. If you have asthma, I've seen firsthand from my family members with asthma that you do struggle a lot. You do have a lot of asthma attacks. Even if your asthma is mild, it can affect that a lot. If you struggle with migraines like I do, the migraines are amplified as well. So even if you're sick with COVID and you're not feeling too bad, do remember that the recovery is still something you have to think about, especially if you do already have existing health problems, even if they are very minor.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck on Tuesday and everything else that you all are doing. It's definitely having a massive impact.
Yes, thank you.